How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Rads, my match review of Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 0. A predictable scoreline and result. Villa now up to 6th in the Premier League, which is unbelievable for them. Forest into the relegation zone of the Premier League, which has been coming. 8 games without a win now. I've lost count, actually. I've actually lost count. It's 9. It's 9 games without a win. I've watched the game enough to do a good assumption, because ultimately these away games and even home games at this stage, it's a copy and paste. It's a copy and paste every single time. Let's go back to the start of the match. We reverted to a back three with this one. I think that made sense to keep it tight and compact. Ultimately, we concede way too many goals, so it made sense to go to a back three. Apparently, according to Twitter, so that might not be very likely because it's Twitter, Joe Ward did slightly better when he came into the team. Felipe, I'm sure he was as sturdy as ever. Near Carte, we'll talk about the goal now, being as I mentioned, near Carte, he was kind of at fault for it. It wasn't really pressing at all, a bit of a statue, and he will talk about the goal in a bit more depth in just a moment. Chiarte in there, I think made sense. I picked him. Shelvey was a bit of a concern for me, and obviously Nico and Toffolo. But I do think those two worked better as wing backs at the very least. And not playing an out-and-out striker, I still think is an issue. So looking at the goals, as I said, Niakate for me was partly at fault, but you cannot not say that Jonjo Shelvey wasn't the main problem here. He literally played it straight into the path of Bertrand Traoré. You couldn't not score. You couldn't not score in that situation. Just boot it. Just whack it clear. Get it out of danger. Don't do like a gentle pass when there's a Villa player right there. Get it out, for goodness sake. Don't take risks. The only defender I've ever seen for Forest of late anyway be able to play it out of danger is Felipe. Frequently, in a tough situation, Felipe just calmly collects the ball and just plays it out of danger. But you're not Felipe, Jonjo, okay? I will give every single Forest player a chance. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But selecting him in the first place I thought was a bit of a risk and negative. And he was at fault for that goal. He just was. And apparently he was lucky to not get sent off. Because as you can see, he got a yellow card. Brennan, I did actually see him have a chance in the first half. But again, those, Brennan and Gibbs-White, they're obviously more than capable of scoring. But especially away from home, you've got to have a number 9 on the pitch. Tyrone needed to be starting in this game. But I get why he didn't in the other aspect, because it would make it more defensive. But a number 9 was missing. It was missing. And obviously the second goal, I need to see it back a few more times because it's just a catalogue of errors. But I think that probably defines it enough, a catalogue of errors, because that's exactly what it was. As soon as I looked at the clip of the goal, it was just Ollie Watkins just gently strolling around the penalty area, and a few scrappy passes later, he'd found it into the back of the net. The amount of goals we concede this season that are just exactly like that is embarrassing. We concede so many pathetic goals that are so avoidable. And both goals today were so avoidable. No urgency, no fight, no understanding of how to defend seemingly. In that situation, just put your body in front of the player. If you're not confident of tackling him, get yourself in front of the player, cause a problem, cause an obstacle for the forward. But no one was really seemingly doing that. It was so obvious what was going to happen. So predictable. And it's so frustrating. Yes, the way we're setting up is an issue. Injuries are 100% playing a part. Niakate and Chiarte going off in this game, which is fantastic. Great to see them two get injured. And obviously, I think we have to address the January transfer window was an absolute shambles. Maybe not shambles, but there were some good players in there. Felipe is one of the best defenders I've seen play for us. But you look at it, Danilo's good. Okay, fair play to him, but he's got potential. He's going to be a bit raw. Scarpa's not playing, hardly at all. Chris Wood, we got scammed out of £19 million there. Andre Ayew, very non-plus. Shelvey, he's alright. I think some Forest fans would say that's polite. He's not the best. He's just a bit average. I think that's the best way to describe Shelvey. Who are missing? I mean, Navas, he's come in and done the best he can. But even he's not as good as Henderson. But since that Fulham game, we've gone off an absolute cliff. And really, I'd say since West Ham, because ultimately, Fulham were doing well at the time, and Man City's Man City. Everyone was at that point against City. It felt like a win that day. But since that Man City game, it has been nothing but misery. The West Ham game was an absolute unacceptable performance. Everton was a bit of a missed opportunity. Spurs, just poor again. I know it's Spurs, but it's poor. Newcastle, we weren't bad, but we lost ultimately. Another set of points dropped from winning positions. Wolves, I mean, I think it was a good performance, but we didn't win. So it feels like a real kick in the teeth. We may have played well, but we didn't win. So it's irrelevant at the end of the day. Leeds, it was a farce after the first 12 minutes. And today, a pretty good first half, seemingly, and a change of system to 3 at the back, I think in general, seemed to suit Forest. But then we had to change that system because of injuries and going more attacking, seemingly. But ultimately, it's just the same old again. We conceded 2 sloppy goals. I don't think we can fault some of the players' efforts. I think some players want it more than others. But a lot of these lads, in my opinion, struggle in terms of how much they actually want it. And, I never ever want to question someone's approach in that regard. But when you look at players just trotting back, you've got to question that. And again, this is on Cooper. What on earth are these substitutions yet again? Are you? Come on. You've got Super Sam right there. And you've got Emmanuel Dennis, who's actually been very influential in the last few games. Even Lingard. Why? Why choose Ayew? I don't understand it, Cooper. I don't understand it. These two would have been so much more suitable and inspiring. So frustrating. And being as I mentioned, Cooper, I mean, where does this leave him? He was backed a few days ago, but he was only backed temporarily, seemingly. It wasn't, he is going to be our manager indefinitely, no matter how results go. It was like, okay, we'll keep him for now. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, okay? It's a tough situation, but if it doesn't improve, he's gone. That's essentially what that statement was saying. In terms of subs and some tactics, you can understand why the board are complaining and is concerned, because Cooper does make some strange decisions. But I will back him. I will back Cooper, because it's not all on him. It's on the players, it's on the injuries. It is an excuse, but it's a very valid one. It is on the recruitment. I think that's been an issue. The whole situation of how he got promoted potentially too early, meaning we had to sign 30 players. Signing 30 players, it's a jigsaw puzzle you've got to try and select in the hardest league in the world. Cooper has shown signs this season of being a good manager. So it isn't all on him at all, but he has made some very strange moves. And I'm just concerned about where it leaves him. It will be devastating the day that he leaves this club in any way after what he's done for us. Yeah, it is what it is. And, the fact that we look like we're probably going to get relegated, look at the running. It is absolutely horrid. My worry, to be honest, isn't playing in the Championship again. It's what goes on after that, if you get what I mean. The players that we're going to lose, the players we're going to bring in again, because it's going to be another overhaul, in my opinion. Probably not, it won't be as bad as what it was in the summer, but the Forest every year sign like 12 players at least, and it's just demoralising. We need a bit of stability, that's not stability in the slightest. Point is if we're going to be playing the Championship, there's no better manager to get us back up than Steve Cooper. So, okay, yes, it seems like we're in a position where we're kind of doomed no matter who's our manager. But long term, Championship football, Steve Cooper is the best manager we can possibly hope for in the Championship. He just is. So getting rid of him when it looks like we're doomed, regardless, would be such a stupid decision based off that and other things. But yeah. What more can I say? Manchester United next week. Great, nice and easy. It's Liverpool. I'm not going to say the rest because I might cry. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Another painful game to report on. Please get comments below what you think of it. Do we have a chance of surviving? Probably not. And I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Up the Reds.